Hi guys, long time no see. Every time I pick up the camera after such a long break, I feel really weird. And um actually I wanted to talk to you about something for quite a while, and I have been asked a lot of questions in the last year. Mostly on Instagram, people write me with their stories, and usually it is people who struggle with their loved ones having mental health issues. It can be depression or borderline or something. And I made a video, I think about a year ago, about helping a loved one with probably borderline, but I think it could be applied for many other mental health issues. But now I sort of feel like a lot of my friends, not a lot, but some of my friends are struggling a lot in the moment. Some of them have depression, some of them just have really difficult life situations that affects their mental health. And for once in my life, I feel like I really do have enough energy and enough experience and mental strength to actually help them, because I used to be the therapist among my friends, so everyone would come to me with their problems, but I was not in a place to really help someone because I was struggling myself. And so I don't think that it is very helpful, first of all. And I really do believe it's like the rule number one, that if you really want to help someone, you need to be in the right place yourself. But I didn't feel good just saying no, because I had trouble saying no to people. And then I learned to say no, and I didn't help anyone for like a year when I didn't feel like I can manage it because I didn't have enough energy. And now I finally feel like I am in the place to actually help someone. So I made the video a year ago from the point of view of a person who struggled or was struggling with mental health at the time. And so it's like the point of view of someone who needs to be helped. But now I can give you the same advice, like for how to help your loved one or a friend who struggles with mental health, but from a point of view of a person who's helping, because now I have kind of both sides, and I believe that I can elaborate more on that. So without further ado, let's get into it. And the first thing that I think is the most important, and it's very hard to actually internalize this message, but I think that without it, everything just doesn't make any sense. So if you want to help someone, you cannot really do that unless the person is ready to accept your help, and unless they know that they have a problem. So I do know some people who definitely do have mental health issues, but like depression, for example, it's very common, and a lot of people don't even notice that they have it, and it becomes more and more severe if you don't really do anything about it, because first it's just lower energy levels, and like a decreased desire to do things, and it doesn't seem like something really serious, but then it becomes more and more disabling, and it can get into a point when you just don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to take a shower, you don't want to do anything about it, and then you don't have enough energy to actually pick yourself up and do something about it, because you let it get to the point where it's just too difficult to actually deal with it. And unless the person that you want to help understands that they have a problem, it's impossible to help them. You cannot help someone against their will, and you cannot help someone who is not ready to accept your help. And honestly, I'm really proud that I made my mom understand that, because for the longest time when I was struggling with mental health and like anorexia and eating disorders and a lot of other things, she was trying to help me, but it of course didn't result in anything because I was not willing to accept that I had a problem. So I know that it can be very frustrating. I know that you can see someone struggling, and for example, I suffered with depression for the longest time, so I know how it feels. I know how disabling it is. I know the feeling when you just you understand that something is wrong, you understand that this is not how life is supposed to be, but you just don't have the energy to go and do something about it. So yeah, rule number one, just know that you cannot help a person if they don't know that they have a problem, and if they refuse to do something, because you can feed them with a spoon, you can, I don't know, do everything for them, but it won't really help. And I believe that you cannot really save anyone. You can be there for someone, and you can support them, and you can give them the tools to help themselves, but you cannot really help someone externally, or you cannot really save anyone, because a person needs to be in a place where when they are ready for a change, in order to change. I hope that that made sense. And another rule that I think is very important, as I said, you have to take care of yourself first. And there is a reason why in airplanes they tell you to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, and then on your child, or then to help others. Because unless you are in a perfectly healthy mental state, and unless you feel like you have that extra energy, that extra mental power to share with someone, you cannot really even help anyone get better. You cannot really support someone, because you will just be struggling yourself, and you will just multiply the struggles, and you might feel worse yourself without helping the other person, and it's just not really productive. So yeah, make sure that you are ready and able to kind of share your energy and share your time and devote yourself to helping other people, because otherwise it's useless. You cannot really do anything for the person if you are not full yourself, you know what I mean. As for helping, what you can actually do for the person who's struggling, I believe that there are two ways in which a person can struggle with mental health, and one of them is situational. So for example, now one of my friends is in a really extremely difficult life situation, and they are extremely mentally stable, and they never struggled with mental health. And so this is why they turned to me for help, because they just didn't know that a person can feel this way. Because when you are struggling with something extreme in your life, it's just totally normal to feel anxious and depressed, and to have this emotional roller coaster of anger and sorrow and all of this crazy hormonal cocktail. And sometimes people who have never struggled with this just really feel lost, because they don't really know what to do with themselves. They have never been depressed, they have never struggled with inability to control their emotions, and they just really don't know what to do with it. So I think that what you can do in this situation is you can provide them with advice for coping skills, because people tend to cope with problems by self-medicating with alcohol, usually, hopefully not drugs, but still, anyway, it doesn't make anything better. Alcohol is actually a depressant, and it doesn't solve any problems. It just makes things more complicated, and it impairs your judgment. So I think the best that you can do is to just be there, listen to them, and give them the things that helped you, like the coping skills that helped you. For example, for me, it's like meditation and yoga, and grounding yourself, for example, in the present moment. And you can tell, without devaluating their story, people really don't like when you underestimate the severity of their problems, because we always feel like our problems are the worst. So without saying like, oh, but that's nothing, I used to have something, or like, my situation is so much worse than yours is, why are you whining? Everyone is entitled to react in the way that they want to react, and they can perceive their situation as extremely bad, although you know that it can be so much worse, and probably you have experienced it yourself, I don't know. But just don't minimize the struggles of a person, because it doesn't make them feel any better. They're just gonna hate you. And yeah, so share the useful skills with them that have helped you, and just be there and listen, and don't judge, and don't press them to share, because sometimes it takes time for people to open up. And really appreciate when someone opens up. Like, I'm so grateful for you guys who write me and tell me your stories, because I know that sometimes it's very hard to share your story, and I think that it's priceless, and I really appreciate it. But yeah, just be there, listen, and share the tools of self-help and coping skills that are healthy and that are not like self-harm or drugs or alcohol, because this is not how you help yourself or anyone. And the other possibility of how a person can struggle is struggling with something that's biological. So like biological depression that is just caused by a hormonal imbalance, or childhood trauma, or something to do with maybe like a personality disorder that is making them suffer, but it's not caused by something external that you can remove or fix in your life. And in this case, again, you just have to really, really weigh everything, because I don't believe in ruining your life just for the sake of helping someone, because you cannot really be sure that you're helping someone. So my rule of thumb here is, if a person is perfectly aware that they are struggling with mental health, and if they are making steps in order to fix it, if they are really working on themselves, and if they're seeing a therapist, or if they're taking their medication, if they're taking this seriously, and you can really tell, because if a person just denies that they have a problem, then I would say don't waste your time. Like, really, you can only do so much for a person, and it doesn't make any sense to, I don't want to say waste your time, but like, you can really spend so much time and effort helping someone who doesn't want to be helped, and who don't even know that they have a problem. And I don't believe that this is a good way to spend your life, although of course it's a personal choice for everyone, and who am I to tell you not to do that. But I would say that if a person knows that they have a problem, and if they're working on it, then you can be there for them. Invest your time and energy into helping them, because then there is a big chance that they are going to get better, and they will be very grateful for your help. And for, I don't know, it's really hard, because every situation is really unique, and I think that it's your decision in the end if you want to help a person and stay by their side and wait for them to get better. I can definitely say that having a support system helps a ton when you struggle with mental health, but also keep in mind that your mental health is equally as important. And for example, if you are living with someone who is currently being treated for mental health issues, and if you are constantly in contact with them, it is probably worth for you to see a therapist too, because it can be very stressful, and you can easily become depressed or pick up some unhealthy symptoms yourself, just because it is really hard dealing with people who are struggling with mental health. There is no shame in seeing a therapist, even if you don't have like a diagnosis, or even if you don't struggle with mental health yourself, but you're helping someone. So yeah, take your own mental health and mental safety and security very seriously, because you don't want to harm yourself while helping others. This is the third rule of thumb. Okay, I was rambling for like 10 minutes in order to understand this, but hopefully you're still here with me. So yeah, make sure that you take care of yourself as well, because as I said, you cannot really help a person if you're not that well yourself. So be very mindful of how you feel, and if helping this other person makes you feel worse and you are getting sick yourself, I don't think that that's good. So yeah, I'm sorry if it wasn't really that structured because I didn't really prepare that much for this video, although I was thinking about it a lot. To sum it up, yeah, there are definitely periods in everybody's life when we are struggling with depression or anxiety, or like situational depression, or just going through hard times, and having a support system is extremely important. And I am extremely grateful that I have had a support system that incredibly helped me get well and get better. But in the end, if it wasn't for me and for me trying to get better, I would never be able to do that, because no matter how strong and loving and caring your support system is, if you're not doing anything to get better, you will not. So keep that in mind, and I hope that my experience helped you. I will link the video from last year down below. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope that you're having a great time. I love you very much, and see you in the next video, and be nice humans. Bye.